told you, you stupid fool. Did you really think you gonna hit me? Huh? Bow, bow, bam! Over.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So Team USA continues to dominate the sport of boxing. We just seen Jermell Charlo a couple of weeks ago become the undisputed champion of the world, and now Devin Haney becomes the lightweight undisputed champion of the world, completely dominating George Kambosos. The fight played out the exact way Devin Haney said it would play out. He said he would handicap every single thing that George Kambosos does. Devin Haney, he was able to completely nullify Kambosos' left hook and his right hand. Matter of fact, I remember Jojo Diaz saying right after he lost to Devin Haney, he said all George Kambosos has is that overhand right, and that's not going to be enough to beat Devin Haney. Leading up to this fight, I watched the George Kambosos versus Mickey Bey fight a lot, and you could see how frustrated and confused George was in that fight. And Mickey Bey is a good fighter, but he's nowhere near on the level of a Devin Haney. So that pretty much told me everything I needed to know. Throughout this fight, George Kambosos, he was completely confused. He was bewildered. He didn't know left from right. Devin, he controlled George Kambosos with the jab from the first round. And then he started to mix in that right hand, the check hooks, and George Kambosos' face was really falling apart. Now, George Kambosos does have a rematch clause. It's hard for me to believe that he will actually follow through and take an immediate rematch clause because, as Eddie Hearn put it when he told Canelo Alvarez, 2 back-to-back losses would be devastating. He was obviously talking about Canelo taking a Bivol rematch, which, of course, Canelo, he took Eddie Hearn's advice and avoided Bivol. You know, when you have somebody as smart, athletic, as intelligent as Devin Haney, the rematch is most likely going to be even worse for George Kambosos because Devin already knew all the answers to the test, but in the rematch, it's pretty much like he's going to have all the answers written down before he even has to answer the questions. The good thing about the rematch clause, according to the way Devin Haney did his post-fight interview, he says if it makes sense, it has to make sense for us to do the rematch. That means in the rematch, now Devin is going to have more leverage. It's not going to be some ridiculous split. It means there's a very good chance that in a rematch, Devin Haney is going to get the type of deal that he should have got in the first fight. So we'll see if George Kambosos wants to gamble with his career and have 2 losses back to back. At the end of the day, this is the reason why George Kambosos originally never wanted to fight against Devin Haney. He had no choice. He was forced. After weeks and weeks of George Kambosos saying, before he agreed to fight Devin Haney, weeks and weeks he kept saying that it was either going to be Lomachenko or Devin Haney. He would later admit that they really was pushing for the Lomachenko fight. That was his first choice. But of course, because Lomachenko decided to stay in this country and defend his country, George really had no choice but to take the Devin Haney fight because Devin agreed to all of his ridiculous demands. On another note, ESPN's Joe Tessitore was extremely quiet. He was just as quiet as the Australian fans were as Devin Haney was completely dominating George Kambosos. In fact, Joe Tessitore didn't even call Devin Haney undisputed after he won. He just said, well, now Devin Haney has taken all the belts. He did not use the word undisputed as much as he was using the word when George Kambosos beat Teofimo Lopez and when Teofimo Lopez beat Lomachenko. We know what time it is. It's amazing when you think about the fact that we had American commentators fly all the way over there to Australia, and yet they were still rooting for the foreign team. Thank God Tim Bradley was there to cover the fight because Tim Bradley was actually doing Joe Tessitore's job as a blow-by-blow announcer. A blow-by-blow announcer is supposed to be extremely animated, excited when someone lands punches, but there were times in this fight, at least particularly in the 7th round. If you guys go back and you watch the last minute of the 7th round, Joe Tessitore, He doesn't say anything for almost 40 seconds straight. And it's Tim Bradley that's doing all the blow-by-blow commentary while Devin Haney is putting on a show in the last minute of that round. I've already told you guys, this whole undisputed agenda by old media has completely blown up in their face. All of old media, Joe Tessitore, Max Kellerman, Chris Mannix, and the whole gang, they were calling fighters like Teofimo and George Kambosos undisputed when they weren't, really as more of a protection, just to say you don't have to fight the dangerous fighters like Devin Haney because we're already calling you undisputed. That has completely blown up in their face, because now the one guy they didn't want to fight for all of the belts is the real undisputed fighter. He's the real undisputed champion today, and that's Devin Haney. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, then this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo Key Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodekey.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram. Fellas, I've got some great news for you. If you've lost your hair or have a receding hairline, the time has come when you can finally get your hairline back through a process called scalp micropigmentation. So here's how it works. It's a hair tattoo that replicates the look of your hair follicles when you have fully shaved it down. So to get this hookup, make sure you follow and contact my man Scalp Carolinas on Instagram. Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com.